Well, hello guys. So I will try to do a small impression vid right now. Okay, nothing too fancy. We are just talking on this screen. Okay, because I want to talk about each mission. Even though in each episode I said what I would have done differently, not big changes, you know, small additions, small quality additions. Probably I would have for everything. Um, yeah, I enjoyed my playthrough through journey mode, and I think for this 2024 revisiting of the mode, I went above and beyond compared to what I did in December 2021 when I first wanted to do the series and I abandoned it after. I talked about this, let's not keep dwelling on it. Uh, yeah, I think I was very thorough on this one. Um, I actually did a lot of combos. I played with different parties as much as I could. Uh, I think all the heroes in the end found at least one vid of gameplay, some even more, and it has been fun. Okay, it has been fun to see this big city again, right, in the journal. I'll remind you, every contract that you play in this mode is serves as a prelude to the rest of Spellforce 3, right? It explains how you find some stuff in the other campaigns, yeah? It explains the state of the maps that you play in different campaigns and how they got like that, no? Uh, and it's actually cool. This one probably appears in the main campaign also, but for sure it appears in Soul Harvest, where we fight a certain dwarven boss right at the beginning of the campaign, basically. This one I remember. If I remember, it was in the Bloodborne campaign, by example. Alright, it was cool. It was cool to see this implemented. Personally, I would have loved more of the RTS maps to be converted to this mode, you know, because that was something that I really wanted to do, to be able to quickly load some of the game's RTS maps and try different comps on them. But it's what could have been. Yeah, they did what they could with the time allotted to them. Yeah, let's not forget this was a free update, which to be fair came along with a big patch which fixed a lot of things that weren't working. There were plot stoppers. For the Bloodborne campaign, I remember I had to look for advice on forums because I couldn't pass. I couldn't progress the story and the patch wasn't coming, even though I was fulfilling the conditions. Yeah. Uh, yeah, but they did a lot of work. They did a lot of work, as you could see in the series and probably in the Harvest, in the Soul Harvest series that I finished before this. Yeah, I'm pretty ticked off by the way the pathing of the units works, especially in the RTS phase. And they are getting stuck sometimes. Sometimes they don't attack. Maybe it's me sometimes, but not all the time, alright? Not all the time. Yeah, that would be something that should have been fixed. And it's a big problem with the hitbox of the units. I think that's what's causing most of the issues. They should have made the hitboxes smaller, in my opinion, for all the units, and more adapted to the actual shape of the units, not those big circles. If you see the dragon moving around and the units just pouring around him, you know? Yeah, so I did have fun with the mode. I would have loved to have more quests, to the town to be more interactable with a lot more detail. Man, I would have paid for a freaking DLC for this journey mode. But of course, this save system, which is something that's characteristic to Dark Souls, if you ask me. Or maybe they were just testing the system for yeah, if you are keeping up with the news, Grimlore Games is working on the Titan Quest 2 game, which will release later this year. So maybe they were testing the save system in this mode. But this mode with checkpoints and stuff has no place in being near RTS or hybrid RTS games, okay? Maybe it works when you have a party of heroes on or only a hero, okay, but to not have a save system in some of the missions are tough. Actually, I played this on Circle Mage, and after I beat it on Circle Mage, because I saw on some forums that people were complaining about the easy version of this, I tested it on easy and I can say it's equally annoying. Not as annoying as on Circle Mage, but it's equally annoying if you don't do everything right, you know? Yeah, this one is hard, this one is hard. I think these two were deserving to be 9 and 10, basically. I don't know in which order. Maybe this one 9 and this one 10. Based on the difficulty as I perceived it, alright? And yeah, it would have been fun for the town to be more lively, maybe to have a base for your starting merc company. I'm actually not sure if we are playing the Deathman, which is a merc company which appears in the Bloodborne campaign and led by Katras, one of the followers in Soul Harvest, but in the Bloodborne campaign we weren't such good friends. Yeah, I'm not gonna spoil too much. So I'm not sure if we are not playing as the Deathman basically in this one. It would have been cool to have maybe, I don't know, on a different map, maybe on this map, like a headquarters somewhere in the corner of the map where it's not really used, you know, stuff like that. Better drop system, because yeah, some items just do not drop. A bunch of purples, a bunch of blues even after you pass level 20. Not sure what happens after. I at this point when I'm recording this and I'm not playing it, I'm pressed for time. Press for time to move to other games, okay. I'm level 28 or 29, I'm close to level 30, okay? If any loot is conditioned by the party level, I don't know. I checked a bit the community. Players didn't find this mode very cool because of the save system, I think, in my opinion. Alright. Oh, now. The impression is good overall, guys. I did have fun, even though sometimes I may sound like I'm not having fun. I'm just stressed, because I usually don't play on Circle Mage in this game. My favorite difficulty was hard difficulty, so I did kind of a jump out of my comfort zone, but I got used pretty fast with it. You know, so half of the series is played on Circle Mage, if you missed that. Yeah, so you have to become very creative when you are playing Circle Mage to be aware of enemies' resistances even more. Weakening, disables, enfeebling, stuff like that. You have to know what you are doing. Yeah, let's talk about each mission for a brief moment and then we will finish. But overall, impression is good. But that save system has no place in being here. As I said, no place in being near something that has RTS missions. Alright? Now, Contract 1, the Gold Thief, is pretty good as a starting and initiation mission for this mode, in my opinion. I would say if you play on higher difficulties, don't use 3 people, because you are just making things hard for yourself. You can actually recruit 4 people at the beginning. You just have to sell some stuff. Alright, and start with a 4 people party. It's just the best way. Farm this a bit. When you feel confident enough, move on this one. What I would have loved to see here as a flavor, where they allowed you to play with the trolls, right? You actually can recruit a mage troll. I like to call him the magic troll because he's a mage, obviously. Uh, you had a troll. It would have been interesting to have different interactions, right? Over here, when you had a troll in your party, maybe get away with not fighting if you choose to not fight, right? Maybe you just want to fight though, but it would have been cool to have that option, right? Let's move on. Contract 2 of Orcs and Elves is actually based on a map which appears in the Bloodborne campaign. That's the base game campaign. Don't remember too much about it. I remember something about Titan. I think this is where you learn how to make Titans in the Bloodborne campaign. Over here, yeah, fast expansion. What I didn't like was those 2 sectors over there. Alright. The pathing over there is just too narrow. Units were getting stuck over there. The rest of the map is pretty cool, pretty chill. I would say the monster boss for the Necro Tour is a bit cheesy over here. Did you see those spawns, man, for that cougar? Like, I don't know how many. He spawns like 20 panthers, and he can do it multiple times during the match. It was very hard to beat at that level that I have in those vids. Yeah, overall this was a good map. You can use it to farm, and if you wanna keep the trader alive, you'll have to expand up to this point roughly and hold that sector. Alright, and that's about it. It's farmable for experience and level, basically, yeah, experience, gold and ancient coins. Okay, you have 2 AIs over here, so keep in mind you have to keep a balance if you want to farm this map. Alright, otherwise you'll get overwhelmed, and if you don't get to a checkpoint before you get overwhelmed, you will lose the time you have put in the mission. Moonsilver Experiments is one of the maps that I beat in the first try, but I think I posted a second playthrough because it was more efficient. Over here you can farm a lot of stuff, a lot of legendary, things that can be converted into that legendary crafting material. Plus you can farm the wyverns if you are good enough to, not good enough, basically for the fire wyvern you just have to wait for her to spawn her cubs. I don't know, is it a cub for a wyvern? And just kill the cubs for the loot, and so on, and rinse and repeat. But I think there are easier maps to farm than this, it's a big risk to deal with the wyvern. And after you finish with the wyvern, you can just kill one of those 5 objectives that you have and save your progress. Alright, pretty cool map. I remember this. I remember there was a puzzle on this in the Bloodborne campaign, and I think it's filled with mostly undead, right? Over here. And there are a few demons also when we get in. Alright. Yeah, I'm referring to the Bloodborne campaign. Over here you have mostly monsters and human enemies, plus the wyvern at the end. Okay, and some golems around. Now, contract for Homecoming. Man, this was frustrating for me a bit. You saw I posted a single hero playthrough It was done on hard because I don't think I could have made it without a healer on Circle Mage, even though my character was high level in this version. It was frustrating because I lost it multiple times because of the friendly AI. Alright, I recorded the whole series solo. You can add 2 more people to help you out if you find people still playing this. Yeah, so I played with the AI and sometimes he didn't, I mean, ever, yeah, if the caravan has passed from a sector, he wasn't sending troops, I think, to defend the other sectors. Not much. So if you lose one of the settlers' houses from his side, because he doesn't defend them, you will lose the mission. So you really have to keep an eye on that while doing your whole dance in the other side of the map. So this was actually quite close to the stress levels to this. Okay, not even the defense mission, I didn't feel it that stressful, if you ask me. And I did play this on Circle Mage. Yeah, so I would say this one can be challenging, but due to the fact that you have to keep an eye on this dude so he doesn't mess your things up. And keep in mind that you have to clear those two bandits camps before your caravan reaches that sector, otherwise you'll have 3 spawns with dark elves over there, and that's a lot to repel. I mean, with a good party versus groups, you can deal with those, but I think it's better if you do not deal with those and just clear the camps ahead, you know, so they don't have from where to call reinforcements for that one. And yeah, this was cool. I have nothing to suggest over here. Maybe that thing is a bit exaggerated over there, but overall it's good. We don't play in this corner of the map, and this map is for sure used, but I'm not sure where it was used. In the Bloodborne campaign or in the Fallen God campaign. It might be tied to some slaver mission also. I'm not sure, I don't remember. And 63 episodes for that series, I didn't have time to just look and see if the map looks the same, you know how it is. And yeah, but it does appear in one of the campaigns. Okay, now fragments of the past, for sure it appears in the Bloodborne campaign. Here is where you will spend a lot of time with your party. I'm not gonna spoil that too much, and actually I think it's a cool thing, right? When we get there with the Tahar and company, we will see evidence that some looters were already there, but I didn't get too much done. Basically, right? Yeah, for this one is lengthy and pretty boring, but you can use insta-kill weapons for the lesser golems. Alright, and I'll remind you again, because I wasn't sure when I played this. I only played it one time because it was feeling a bit boring, to be honest. It's a good map to farm for resources, and you drop a certain trinket over here which can teleport one person. Man, I didn't find a hidden spot where I could use to teleport there to find a chest. I may have missed some things hidden on the maps. Yeah, it's possible that I may have missed some chest on the maps, because otherwise, yeah, that trinket wouldn't drop unless we needed to use it. All right, so I'll remind you again, because maybe I didn't explain it right in the description of this actual episode. To save your progress after you beat the boss, who has 2 chests over there, You have to get 3 shaper keys. It doesn't matter in which order. Alright? You get 3 shaper keys, you save your progress and you can leave early. But if you got 3 shaper keys, why not finish the other 2 and get the full experience, right? And rewards from the actual quest giver. So it is a matter of taste how you proceed over here. Alright. Contract 6, Shield of the Crown. And this one I have nothing to say. Oh yes, I do have. The reinforcement system was pretty cumbersome to deal with. When you play with a party of 4, you have to break your main, which obviously you tend to take good care of him, right? Because it's like an avatar for you, and usually is the most developed, right? It's pretty stressful to break in from the team, go there, talk with a lady, ask for a new type of reinforcement. I think that could have been automated a bit more and make stuff available at the inn where you already recruit your usual units and just temporarily give you the chance to pick one of the reinforcements, right? After that, of course, they get disabled until the timer comes back again. So you would pick one or the other. I think that could have been easily implemented and yeah, after the initial conversation she could tell you you can just recall them from the inn when the time is right. You know, this is the only thing I could change. Another thing, sometimes in some of the missions maybe you don't really want reinforcements anymore. It would be interesting to stop taking them, because in some missions they are automatic and they just ruin your army composition, in my opinion. Another thing over here, you have the monster bosses in this wrecked village over here, which spawn a lot of ads, you know, a lot of additional units which swarm around the boss, and when they die they drop a lot of loot. I mean, they could have done it a bit easier to collect that, you know, in those cases. In my opinion, that could have been an improvement. And this is about it. And this is an important and hard mission in the Bloodburn campaign. Actually, we meet Clara Farlon later, after she is already established in this mission, and we have another mission in the Bloodburn campaign. It's a pretty cool way that they did the prelude, as I say. I actually enjoyed playing through these maps to see how they looked before the campaign. It could have been even nicer if you could see, you know, by example, if you play the journey mode and later you start the other campaigns again, to see traces of what you did in the journey mode over there. Alright. Contract Sacred Duty, I would say from all the RTS missions, this one is the hardest in my opinion, and you have to do things right in the right order to be very responsive. I wouldn't suggest to break off your army, but I noticed sometimes I left a big army stationed in some of the sectors and the AI wasn't attacking it. But I think it was a pretty sizable army, right? Like 100 pop. When I was doing stuff with the heroes with a smaller number of people. Alright. So on this one I would say my playthrough with the dwarves is roughly the best way to do stuff. Of course you can improve on anything, but I think that's a good start to make up your strategy. And if it works on Circle Mage, it will work on any difficulty. Alright. One thing I was missing in my first playthrough is I should have replaced a Necromancer with a crossbow man, with a crossbow dwarf. Alright. and I would have more control on the enemy attacks. When they were running, I could deal to them more damage, make them recruit more, you know, and I could punish them more for their attacks. Because I felt like in that playthrough I wasn't getting too many when they started running back, you know, with their hit and run attacks. Also keep in mind the AI has full vision. I suspect they also check when the maybe I'm paranoid, but I suspect they also take into account when the player is not looking at his units, and they do tend and probe when that happens. As it happened quite a few times to be just a coincidence. Now my units getting attacked when I was just placing one building, you know, not spending too much time away from them. I suspect that's a feature also. Also keep in mind on this map the enemy has a plus 25 to all resistances due to the shaman boss. The main base is protected while the shaman boss is alive. Alright, keep that in mind also. I checked. Actually I wanted to make a drop and kill the base to see if I could finish the game faster. No, you cannot. You have to kill the boss first. If you can do that, of course you can kill the Khal after. Alright, what I wanted to say. One thing I didn't like about this. So overall the undead waves naturally increase in strength, okay? But if the player moves too fast and destroys 3 of those, I think the rest of the undead waves that are still spawning from the rest of the spires will get upgraded automatically, and I think that's not a cool decision. It's not a good design decision in my opinion. I think they shouldn't punish the player for progressing too fast, in my opinion. Alright? So they should keep those waves growing naturally on their set timers or anything, not increase them as the player progresses, you know? I hope I made myself clear, because yeah, I hope I explained that right. Overall it's cool, and this is a map used also. I think we visit this 2 times in the Bloodborne campaign. It's a pretty cool site of this. Not sure, at least 1 time we visited. Yeah, and we have encounters with a deathman on that one that I talked at the beginning. And yeah, pretty cool map, and I love to see this vision. I was extremely tense on this one. It took me a few tries, not really fails. I only failed 1 time when I was trying with the trolls, and I barely remembered how to play them. And after that I was just stopping, you know, when sectors trading was starting. When I felt like I didn't move fast enough in order to beat the mission efficiently, and sector trading was just too erratic, I just stopped and resumed the mission, you know. And I was pretty tense. On this one. As I said, because I moved to Circle Mage, I didn't usually play on Circle Mage up to this series. I did have a few encounters in Circle Mage in other campaigns, but not at this length, you know. Alright, so yes, I was a bit tense up over here. And I did have to edit a bunch of stuff from, yeah, from the playthroughs that I posted. I think I got them all. But mostly I was ticked off when the units got stuck. Over there I was just like going insane. Man, I'm getting killed here and the units get stuck and I have to pay attention to them to get them unstuck and stuff like that. And yeah. Over here I have no actual suggestions. I think the overall design is good. Only that thing with waves of undead might be a thing. Another thing they could do, they could have done, is just make those workers a bit smarter, man. When you have cases like this, like part of your sector is in the fog and you will die if you go to the fog. Just teach those workers not to go where enemies are to collect resources. I think that's an engine issue, right? That's a game issue. They should have solved this a bit, because what happens is you get incessantly notified that a worker has been killed, and that brings me back to that horn. Man, that's super annoying, because there is no targeted way to turn that off. Okay, you will turn off other things if you turn those sounds off, so you can't really turn it off, and it's annoying because sometimes you don't feel the danger is high enough to warrant your response in one of the sectors, but the game will keep telling you about that and keep telling you, and at 10 seconds, at 15 seconds, at 10 seconds again, and so on. And yes, that reminds me a bit of a cheesy thing over here. You know, when you are at the last sector and those two heroes basically, are respawning at every 10 seconds, man, no, that shouldn't happen, man. Just put them on a higher cooldown if the AI has only one sector. In my opinion, that would improve the general flow of the mission. I mean, that's just cheesing the players, if you ask me. Alright, let's move on. I talked enough about this. Heart of Darkness, man, was extremely hard for me to do this. It was so hit and miss. And the boss over here is just OP. As you know, you can't really get a party suited for everything. But over here you have small groups, right? Most of the time. So technically single target spells are good over here, in my opinion. I played with multiple comps on this one, and in the end I was so tired that I stopped commenting when I was doing the tries, and I added some voiceover after in post edit for this mission. Yeah, it's pretty tough. It's pretty tough to do. And over here, at the level that I was, not over here, over here at the last group of portals, I'm not sure you could do it properly if I didn't use that running strat with the mages. I'm not sure I could have just cleared those, because they had too many hit points, and they were spawning like 5 of those mage siphoned creatures and 5 of those melee creatures on top of demons and stuff, if you cleared the guards at the beginning, you know? So I'm not sure if that can be done properly, like with fighting everyone and slowly advancing and shutting down the portals. I had to use that cheese strat after I failed a few times over there, because they were spawning just too many people and they were overwhelming the party, you know? At any point over there I could fight only like 3 of those demons archfire things at a time, at most. If you add one more, it would have been risky. Yeah, this one was pretty tough, in my opinion. Was pretty tough also. But this one was a party-based mission, not an RTS mission, okay? Maybe different comps, but in the end I pulled through. I got it done. And of course on Circle Mage again. Apparently I started to like Circle Mage difficulty. Yeah, but it's frustrating to do due to the save system, as I said. Checkpoint stuff, it's just too much Dark Soul in this mode. just too many similarities to the Dark Souls games. Not sure. Yeah, it was frustrating. Just I lost in multiple points, you know. At the beginning, of course, when I didn't know the mission well, I actually lost at the beginning. The fact that I was trying to keep the mages alive really hampered my efforts. Also, the unit AI is not that great. You could see the mages were buffing each other while my party was unbuffed. I didn't have time to micro that, so alright, it was just too hectic and too risky. And yeah, but overall, I have no issues with this mission. It was tough, as a contract 8 should have been. Alright, let's move to the next one. Contract 9, the kidnapping. It was a nice throw off to the... yeah, by the way, this map appears in the Bloodborne campaign also. As the quest giver said, it is indeed Isamu Tahar's laboratory. I think it's filled with those demons also when we come back with Tahar party. No, Contract 9, the kidnapping. It was a cool throw to the real-time tactics games, like that initial part when you had to sneak up. No, it was a cool throw to the other types of games in the strategy genre. But after you beat the map one time, I would simply add it an option, to skip that part, in my opinion, because it's not fun to play it multiple times. It's okay as a novelty, but after that, yeah, I don't think it's really that fun to do the sneaking around again. By the way, you can kill a guard if you do enough damage. Check out the end of the episode if you skipped, and you can see what I used. And probably there are other ways to do it, but you have to be really fast because the game takes over the camera and throws off your casting, when you are detected, and you have like 2 seconds if the guard discovers you to do the kill damage. Alright, so it's better if you use a spell which can kill him from one cast before he sees you. So you can do it technically to make your life easier, but they didn't drop anything for me when I did it, so it's no point. So what I would have done differently on this one was adding a checkpoint to skip the sneaking around after you beat the mission one time, of course. Okay, the boss over here, the final boss over here, there is no monster boss on this map, so the final boss over here felt easy for me. Even though it was circle mage, it felt easy for me because I came prepared with a lot of single target spells. Alright, so it was pretty easy to get him down. Alright, if I wasn't prepared, I was just going to count on mostly auto attacks, so that wouldn't have been very fast. Alright, but it was cool how he was zipping around on the map and he was forcing you to follow him. Pretty cool. As you could see, I tried to to lure him towards this, but the devs thought about this, yeah, so we couldn't use the actual guards to help us with the boss, but it was pretty easy to take down, in my opinion. And this map we are visiting in Soul Harvest. Over there it's actually quite a good place if you wanna level up your party to the max for that campaign, which is 20, I think, level 20. And I'm pretty sure you visit this in the Bloodborne campaign also, but I don't remember the specifics. I might be wrong though, but I think you visit it over there also. Alright, and contract 10. How to tame a dragon. Over here I have the most things that I would like to add, and I would have modified myself to make the mission more fun. Alright. It felt pretty easy. The AI is easy to beat. Maybe that's intended. Yeah, you have two AIs over here. The hunters, which are over here, and the elves, which have the main over here. What I would have done was not to place the main here. I would place it on the other side. Maybe I wouldn't use 3 pillars. Alright. Maybe I would have just used 2 pillars to charge. Maybe put more requirements if you drop to 2 pillars. Alright. And this would be the first change, okay, to make this AI a bit more durable. Also, maybe protect his base at the beginning to avoid what I was doing all the time when I didn't want them to bother me. I was just going with a level 3 wave and destroyed the main, right, with my starting party. So they could just have a protection spell on the elves, you know, maybe even tied also to those pillars, you know. That would have made the elf faction a bit more durable. Also, their hero was pretty bugged, so they left a few bugs in on this vision. Could see him spawning at a different godstone than his faction was having, even when they still had sectors, so that needed to be fixed, obviously, to make the whole thing more fluid. Okay, so this is about the starting setup, right? Move the elves here. This is how I would have done it. Alright. And for the dragon fight, I wouldn't have chosen this place. Or if they really wanted this place, make the area bigger in order to make an epic fight. I mean, I'll spoil it for you. You can beat this with a party of heroes, indeed. Yeah, if you have the sustain to do it and the defenses to do it, you can beat this guy with the heroes. You don't need the army. But the game is trying to push you into building that whole army, alright, in order to fight an epic fight with a dragon and subdue him in order to tame him. We know that this is not actually a taming, right? Basically, not sure if I said it in those playthroughs that I posted, but let's not go there. Alright, just in case you do wanna get through the Bloodborne campaign. I would have made the area bigger enough to maneuver an entire party. Maybe even change the thing a bit. So after you kill the guards over here, I would have made the dragon able to fly off to a nearby sector. A big enough sector with an open field where you could actually have an epic fight against a big strong dragon, right? With your armies attacking him, and you would have been able to use tactics. In this small space, you just can't even dodge that firestorm when he decides to cast it, and actually you are never sure what he will cast. At least I try to pay attention to his animations, but I was never sure if he's just going to spit fire or he's actually calling that firestorm. Maybe I was just too stressed to notice a difference, I don't know. But it would have been epic to fight it in an open field, and of course the zoom is too close for this kind of fight. When you are using so many units to fight a boss, the zoom would have needed to be a bit higher for that, and that would have been freaking epic in my opinion, to have all of them come together, and because you moved him in the open, yeah, give him extra 50k. Hit points make it harder, but with this modification it would have been something to talk about, man, in my opinion, right? Also keep in mind you have checkpoint system, not a true save system, so this thing is very frustrating to deal with. As you could see in the vid previous to this, I could do it with my heroes. Even I wasn't paying attention at the beginning because I was trying to bring some of the troops that were around to get them in through the gates. That's what I was doing. Yeah, it was pretty easy. I mean, pretty easy. It wasn't easy, so I died a few times, right? But yeah, for a party, it's okay as a spot, alright? But when you are encouraging the player to put all that work, right? Upgrade all those sectors, get all that stockpile of resources done, build your army, think what would work on the dragon, and then you just clump them together in that tight space just to get hit by that firestorm without too much time to move out. Not really the best design choice in my opinion. Alright, but overall I did have fun. Oh, by the way, okay, let's move on to the part where you actually get the dragon, okay? What's that? You only give one ability to the dragon. Alright? So that brings me back to what I said at the beginning. You remember, all the enemies are on this half of the map. Imagine how great it would have been to have a dragon flying, spewing fire over the enemy, doing the same damage to all the buildings, not just to those OP towers that are spread around by the dragon hunters, you know. Being able to call that firestorm also while it was in our control, and that silencing thing he does, that knockback versus armies, you know, it was pretty cool. It would have been pretty cool to have the reversed battle actually, right? Over here in the open field you would have battled with your armies against the dragon, and now the roles were reversed. You were the dragon, you were maybe fighting a big army in this side of the map. That's how I would have designed this mission, and I think it would have been pretty cool in my opinion. Okay, but this mode has released 3 years ago, the devs have moved on, and I don't think Spellforce 3 will get any new updates. Who knows, maybe we'll get a surprise, but I think I don't know if there will be a Spellforce 4. Like a remake of the first game would be awesome if you ask me, but that would imply a lot of work and I don't know if that will happen. So let's finish this up, guys. Yes, I did want to post an impression and suggestion vid, even though I don't know how much value it has, but overall I had fun. But this could have been epic, you know, one of those missions the gamers would talk about, you know, just with a bit of insight in the design of this. Yeah, thank you guys for hearing me out. If you had patience to go through everything, this will definitely be the last thing I post related to this series. I am complete. I think I was very thorough with this one. I was fair. Back in 2021 I was swamped. I am swamped right now also with other things, and I do have other things to take care of, but I was not as fair back then, and I felt always that I rushed through the content a bit, not paying attention. But this time, in the 2024 edition, I think I was pretty thorough. pretty fair. Alright, I went through everything, I did have fun, and yeah, I would have loved more. I would have loved more. I know there are a few mods which improve this a bit and add more content, but I would have loved more from the devs, if you ask me. But still, is good as a free update. But I would have paid for a good DLC. If they would have motivated that they can put the resources into a free update to get this done, I would have paid for a DLC to get a more fleshed out journey mode without even blinking, guys. Alright, now let's stop here. This is the end of the journey mode revisited series. Thank you guys for watching and hearing me out. Bye bye.